And comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, BTVI lecturers say Linda Davis must go and they don't want her departure delayed. Also tonight, the Bahamas Union of Teachers vote to strike. It's all connected to the civil service salary review. We talk about that. And later tonight, three brothers, one as young as 6 years old, attacked in their home in Greencastle, Eleuthera. The culprits, also young men, reportedly broke into the house to get to the brothers. That's straight ahead for you as well. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening, I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, class time and business were disrupted on the campus of BTVI this morning as UTAB and the Auxiliary Professionals Union walked off the job, calling for the swift removal of President Linda Davis, even though there is only 1 month remaining in her tenure. Union members say Davis has blocked certification allowances, permanent and pensionable upgrades, and salary increments. Well, we're going to get to the bottom of it this evening because this is not the first time they have protested against this president. This is not the first time they have spoken against her and said that and alleged that she has stood in the way of progress at BTVI. So we're really going to get to the bottom of this evening. Joining me is the president of the teachers union that represent BTVI. Of course, you heard the auxiliary union, and also a member of UTEB, Lawrence Clark. Of course, welcome President Ernesto Williams. Good evening to both of you gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Shanique.
Listen, let's just talk about this. As I read a moment ago, it's about a month, maybe even under a month until she retires because she has tendered her resignation, yes? Or expressed the fact that she will resign and leave BTVI at the end of this month.
The contract is not being renewed.
Oh, that's what
Right, it's not being renewed.
The contract is not being renewed.
It's not a resignation.
What's the contract? Mm-hmm. Well, why can't you all wait it out? Why can't you all wait until the end of this month for Linda Davis to just wonderfully walk off into the sunset onto her next endeavor? What's happening now?
Well, I want to start by noting, good night, wonderful Bahama people. This is Ernesto G. Williams, president of the Bahamas Union of Auxiliary Professionals in Education. 19 days remains, and 19 days is too long. 19 days can be equated to the more that someone can do against you. It sounds short, but this is an exiting president who has focused her regime, because I can't call it a leadership, she focused her regime in ensuring that she can do whatever it takes personally to frustrate the people at BTVI, the workforce that makes it work. On top of that, we are of the belief that it's been led or purposed to give her a consultancy position after her tenure is concluded.
Consultancy position allegedly where?
Supporting whoever the incoming president
at
is
BTVI?
To be at BTVI.
No, I'm sure you all have been misinformed.
And the devil is a liar and the truth is not in him. Because that type of poor, autocratic, tyrannical, bullying, Scrooge-like mentality, that spirit has to go. It cannot be allowed here anymore.
What are some of the stuff that she has been alleged and accused of doing?
And so we currently have a lot of our members, a lot of my members in particular, and of course several in the Union of Tertiary Educators in the Bahamas, and Mr. Clark will speak to that, who are still permanent and pensionable, who have yet to receive their annual increments, who have given years.
Since when?
This would be the year for 2025, 2026. Mm-hmm. Those annual increments are 4 months late.
So who is responsible for that though? Can't be the president of BTVI.
The institution's executive leadership is responsible for ensuring that the industrial agreement is followed in tandem with the union. And so those were to have been due by July 1st. And so if you're not holding up your end of the bargain, the union always is being asked to be the bigger person. The employees are always asked to be the bigger person, to still show up, and they give their best, not just because they're being asked to, but because it's in them. We proudly give to the development of students in our country. That's what we're all about. Staff, faculty, middle managers, even the alumni. That's what we are focused on. And so at the end of the day, my question is, how long do you want them to give to you when you refuse to give to them? And then on top of that, when you're holding back allowances, you're holding back salary increments, you're holding back permanent and pensionable status, and you're purposely being a blockade to it, you want to go ahead and invest in and focus on what promotes your legacy.
Promote what legacy? But if this is, how many times have you all protested as it relates to the same matter?
Maybe about, it's probably the 6th or 7th time for the year.
Yes, too many
For
times.
the year,
For the year.
For the year.
2025.
For the year.
Now, Mr. Clark, is no way when the government giving out money, and I use that loosely, because let me just pull it back and be more responsible then. When the government has said, public servants, you all, based on where, especially public servants proper, where you stand, you in need of a little boost. And they have done that. Is no way this president, what you all are saying, is withholding money?
She's withholding the funds. She is, there is a process to, we would have had a career alignment for all faculty members, and this is based on the industrial agreement. And so once you're aligned in your proper category, then of course your salary would change. And so even that process, which would have happened last year, it was a very tedious, delayed process. I believe up until this year, we had at least 1 or 2 instructors who were still not in the proper categories because there's criteria to get into these categories and obviously to get your benefits. And so one of those criteria would be your academic, your degree and certification that you currently have. And she is saying that they are not valid. She actually...
How so? Because she may... why would she say they're not... The accreditations, the degrees, the whatever. Why would she come out and say, these are not valid, I will not recognize and honor them, and you all go back and come back to me again?
Well, and that's what it is. She's chosen to not recognize them. She's chosen to include NACOB, which is a national local body that I guess approves or confirms degrees and accreditations of degrees. She included them. That was never part of the process. And this process was designed by the Prime Minister's office, not by BTVI, which is the worst part about this. This is a step that she included herself. And so we were very shocked to know that your degrees have to be verified. They never had to be verified before. All of a sudden now they have to be verified.
But Mr. Clark and Mr. Williams, let's be honest here. You know, listen, Bahamians are getting dumber. Y'all see where the national GPA stands? Does it still hover around D or F minus?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay, so then if we don't need y'all showing up saying y'all teaching, whether it be at the primary, middle school, high school, college, technical levels, and y'all ain't quite know what y'all doing.
Well, you know,
exactly. Where y'all getting your degrees from? That this president seemed to be saying, I ain't buying it.
Shanique, can you imagine someone comes to you and tells you that the degree that you spent the time to study and work for, that you would have either traveled to or that you would have spent the time online with, your accredited institution that has shown that they are accredited and that your degree comes from an accredited institution, that they show you this and someone still decides to question it, the disrespect, that stops. That has to have been over from before we walked into the 21st century.
Shanique, let me add that.
I would question
let me add
degree,
that
the blood,
especially from an accredited
the foolishness.
Yeah, from an accredited institution.
Stop that mess, man.
Here is the problem with NACOB, because again, it was never part of the process. So now, we have to send our degrees and our certifications to NACOB. NACOB, in turn, apparently will confirm the accreditation or the validation or the validity of the degree. But this is how NACOB. First of all, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of colleges around the world. NACOB, it's in itself only recognizes 14. So if you look at NACOB's
I think
website,
you need to say the number again.
NACOB, out
you
of the
mean of-
hundreds of thousands of
You mean of the hundreds of
universities
thousands of
across the
universities,
globe where I can go and
degrees
attain my degree.
colleges and universities.
Okay.
Yes, NACOB only recognizes 14.
Now, who on the board of NACOB?
That's a good question.
Because there's no way that you all could be that. I know we try to be extra and do a lot, and that's okay because again, the students of today need it. The technical persons who are going in to upskill, they need people who know what they're doing. But certainly, you mean of everywhere in the world, everywhere, even in the region has more than 14 universities and colleges. They only recognize 14?
NACOB only recognizes 14. And if we had known that, if we had understood that this would have been part of the process, we would have had an issue with that. You understand me? Why do I have to, how am I now, my degree, which is my degree and certifications, which is internationally recognized, accredited, is now being governed or validated by a small national local institution? That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
It makes no sense. And the irony is BTVI in itself is recognized as an international body. And so now, if we are recognized internationally, if you are providing international certifications and we're providing international training, why are we being limited and governed by a local body which is limited in who they recognize? It makes no sense. And clearly that was something that was slid on, that was a plan all along.
Yeah.
Because I've been at BTVI going on 17 years. We have some persons, they're 10 years, 20 plus years. We all had to, obviously, we were all hired based on our qualifications and experience in industry. And so never before was this an issue or a question or proposed to us. All of a sudden now, and you brought it in after the agreement was signed, Dr. Davis signed herself. She was part of the process, the negotiation process. If this is something that she felt so passionate about, you would have sent this, you would have done this or implemented this or spoke about this or brought this to the table earlier. She's playing games. She's playing with persons' career
And livelihood.
and livelihood.
You have things out, man.
You could imagine now, you have persons who are on these 2-year, 3-year contracts, 1-year contracts. And their tenure is 10 plus years, 15 plus years. But they can't go to the bank to get loans.
Can't get a loan.
If your contract says you're hired for 3 years, you can't go to the bank and get a long-term loan to take care of yourself and your family. That's a problem. And by the way, let me be very clear. These persons with these contracts have a full-time load. They execute the same responsibility as a permanent and pensionable instructor such as myself.
But yet they can't move forward.
But yet they can't move forward.
They can't
They are
get
limited.
their promotion. They can't get their salary review. They can't get any of those things.
They cannot get the medical. They cannot be placed on the
Oh,
medical
no,
plan
no,
because they have a short-term contract. But yet they have the full-time load and all the responsibilities as a full-time instructor.
Yes.
They
Yes.
also have
taking
as well.
advantage of
Yes.
people.
In
Now-
addition to
More
the extra time that we as instructors already put in.
Yes.
But that's poor.
Now, you have
That's
said, I
poor.
saw you in particular today saying that, listen, you all were not, meaning lecturers, professors, teachers, whom will not enter the classroom until this woman is gone. You all stand on that?
We stand on that. We stand on that. We have to make this a priority, okay? Dr. Davis is not making the faculty of BTVI priority. And that's very, I mean, again, she's not people friendly. She doesn't recognize the humans as a true resource. And a resource is an asset. We are an asset to the institution. Why would you not take the time to sit with us and execute the benefits and other stipulations of the industrial agreement? By the way, the stipulations, again, were not decided by Dr. Davis. In some cases, they were decided by the Prime Minister and his office. And so now you are going against the Prime Minister's office? Are you what you're blatant? You're showing your hand pretty much.
But I want you all to
she's
speak to
You're
this
showing your hand.
because she has a few more weeks there as president, and you all feel as though you cannot wait until then. You really want this matter to be addressed now, this week.
It's too disrespectful. The disrespect is unbearable. It's unbearable. And you know, we're closing the year. As anybody else, Christmas is coming. You want to go the year feeling very, proud of what you've done so far.
That you've accomplished
exactly.
for the year, and you're moving forward.
And looking forward to the new semester.
To the new semester in the new year,
Exactly.
and what that will bring.
Let me explain another reason why we had to make this stance. In earlier part of this year, as I said, we would have signed our agreement in 2023. And so since then to now, we've been trying to get all these benefits and these processes.
Action it
Yes,
accordingly, yeah.
get them rolled out, get everything in order, get committees sorted out, so on and so forth. At the beginning of this year, up until the beginning of summer, we were begging, UTED was begging for a meeting with Dr. Davis and her team to resolve these outstanding matters. There were 14 outstanding matters.
Give us an example of a couple.
Well, again, the permanent and pensionable persons, which
Yes.
or non-permanent and pensionable persons.
Yes.
The process of having some instructors not recognized or their degrees not recognized. The process was just taking long.
I mean, and
And
these
it's
are
a local-
legitimate, and
it's a
these are
local-
legitimate universities and colleges. Yeah?
Legitimate
You see,
universities.
y'all ain't going on YouTube and figure
No,
you
no,
listen
no.
to something for several hours
No,
and you have a
man.
degree.
No.
You know, listen. What happens tomorrow?
Tomorrow we do the exact same thing. This is priority to us. We will be doing this until two things happen. Dr. Davis is removed and we can start to get the 14 outstanding matters resolved. And as I was saying, Shadi, we left out of the summer semester and went on summer break. The matters were not resolved. We came back, we begged for a meeting. We had a meeting on September 11th. We had the 14 items listed. We gave them a copy. We had our copy. We went through them line by line. We came up with a few of them that could be resolved. We demanded a resolution to these 14 because, again, we know the end of year is coming. And furthermore, there really was no reason to have them delayed so long. We were given a date of October for a number of them, and which means we would have had to come back and confirm if they were actioned. That meeting never occurred. Why? Because if we don't beg for the meeting, if we don't say, Dr. Davis, can we get back to the table and confirm, check off, and so, she doesn't provide the meetings. She's always busy. It's not priority for her.
You want to know
And
what
this
is
would be
priority?
This would be the board as well, not just Dr. Davis. This is Dr. Davis and the board of
Complicit
BTVI.
board, agreed.
Okay.
The
and so-
board ignores you all as well?
Yes.
They're
Yes, no.
complicit to it all.
They're both
complicit to it all.
ignored because at the end of the day, Dr. Davis will tell you she is she speaks on behalf of the board. But when we sit in negotiate, or I should say, when we sit in meetings, because negotiation is done. When we sit in meetings with the board will now turn and say, well, Dr. Davis is the one who will have some final say on certain matters. She will be the one to execute. So we're going from one to the
Who is
next.
the governing body of BTVI?
There's a board in place.
Or the board?
There's a board in place.
But Ministry of Education then doesn't play a role?
Well, the ministry and the government, as you know, would have
The board
appointed
would
the board
respond, right.
to run the
So
institution.
the board
Who-
would
who
then
is chairman of the board?
answer to that.
Mr. Taylor is the chairman of
First
BTVI's
name?
board.
That's Elvin.
Elvin Taylor.
Elvin Taylor.
Yeah.
Step up, sir. Get this done. You want this institution that is now expanding across the nation to be successful? Well, see about your staff.
man.
See about your staff, Elvin Taylor, because Linda Davis is soon out the door. But these ones say Elvin Taylor. They will not go back in the classrooms today, tomorrow, and this week if Linda Davis remains in the chair.
Remove the stumbling block.
And so come and sit
Yes.
with me. Give them what it is. Meet with them. That's what, people only want respect,
We want respect.
Acknowledgement and respect. Elvin Taylor, sir, let's get this moving. Let's get this moving in the direction it should. And every
Amen.
board member, you all stop
Amen.
sitting on, they have a stipend they collect, eh?
Yes, they do.
Stop collecting the stipend and get the work done. Stop having
Serious.
big fat lunches on your meetings and get the work done at BTVI.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, I thank you both very much.
Thank you as well.
Appreciate it so
Beyond the
much.
Headlines is backward after this.
It's Christmas time at Grand Bahama Tiles with 5 days of savings you don't want to miss. Starting this Saturday, November 29th, get 25% off all tiles in stock. Then on Monday, December 1st, savings drop to 24% off, ending Thursday, December 4th with 21% off. The early bird really catches the worm this Christmas as savings drop each day. Hurry down for early Christmas savings at Grand Bahama Tiles. Call them at 352-7920.
Welcome to Sunburst Super Christmas Sale, where you buy 5 and get 1 free. Prices start at just $28.95 for top quality wall paints and high gloss oil paints for $55.95 a gallon. Lucky customers get a chance to win a 42-inch TV every Saturday starting now. The drawing will take place at Sunburst Paints the first week of December. You can also have a chance to win one of two 65-inch TVs during the month of December. So hurry on down to Sunburst Paints on Harold Road, where you buy 5 and get 1 free. Happy holidays, everybody!
Crossing the Sicily Poitier Bridge just got easier. Now you can pay your bridge tolls using debit or credit cards.
No more searching for cash.
Just tap and go. Quick, secure, and easy.
Modern convenience, same trusted service from the Bridge Authority.
It's Christmas time at Grand Bahama Tiles with 5 days of savings you don't want to miss. Starting this Saturday, November 29th, get 25% off all tiles in stock. Then on Monday, December 1st, savings drop to 24% off, ending Thursday, December 4th with 21% off. The early bird really catches the worm this Christmas as savings drop each day. Hurry down for early Christmas savings at Grand Bahama Tiles. Call them at 352-7920.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay Eden well.
Running out of space? We've got room for that. Welcome to Skyline Storage, your trusted self-storage solution. Skyline Storage offers units from 5x10 to 10x30, climate-controlled or standard dry. Perfect for home or business. Located in Westfield Commerce Park, Western New Providence. Your belongings stay safe with gated access and 24/7 surveillance starting at $175 a month. Reserve, pay, and move in online. No phone calls, no paperwork. Visit SkylineStorage.com. Skyline Storage. Storage made simple.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay Eden well.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, there continues to be a growing showdown between the nation's chief and a local union leader who says she and her members are refusing to yield until they get what is rightfully theirs. Jose Etienne has this story, and then we come back and talk about it.
I don't know why he was disappointed, but we are disappointed in the Prime Minister.
In fact, Wilson previously called the salary increases crumbs. On the other hand, here's what's driving Davis's disappointment.
That was not a matter that was negotiated by them. It was something I did for them.
But Wilson says it's time for Davis to stop rehashing that argument.
The funds did not come out of the Prime Minister's personal bank account or the Prime Minister's pocket. It's the taxpayers' money.
The union's also taking issue with recent increases not being retroactive to last year. Government officials confirmed that it's a back pay from September of this year.
We did not receive equal to others who would have received $3,000 and up because your word is your bond, sir.
Wilson's also arguing that a recent communication from government officials proved to her that the union's recommendations fell on stony ground.
I call it a general, vague, weak response. What did it say? But they've also said that there's no other salary review, which shows that they never conducted a review for the 17,000 civil servants that they just paid crumbs to.
Now, that recent poll shows that nearly 88% of respondents voted in favor of industrial action, while an even greater majority, 92%, supported moving forward with a strike vote. Wilson declined to say how many teachers voted.
I sent out a second poll because you would note that industrial action is not only marching or protesting.
And so there you have it. President of BUT, Belinda Wilson, says, listen, it is crumbs. She stands on that. And she also insists that a salary review never took place and that they are entitled and waiting on, just as others would have gotten up to $3,000 onto their salaries. I imagine that's what she's saying, that her members too deserve such a generous reward. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Cassius Stewart. Cassius, of course, Cassius is a member of the Beyond the Headlines panelists, but I brought you out, singled you out, Cassius, because you made some statements last week that even the Department of Labor said, wait a minute, Shanique, wait, what is this? Let's revise that. Let's look at this, because Cassius misunderstood or misrepresented how much unions have taken in over 40 years and all the rest of it down the line. But what do you think about Wilson, who was saying, listen, there were some civil servants who got up to $3,000, I guess, as a part of the salary review, and therefore her membership also are entitled to that amount?
You know, Shanique, I've been around a little long. I remember Pat Bain, I remember Freddie Munnings, I remember Obie Ferguson, I remember all of us having the same discussion 20 years ago, arguing about who didn't get what, who didn't get what. I remember marching up and down the hot streets in the sun with them, and we were singing "We Shall Overcome," because they figure we shall overcome. And we've been here before. We've seen this playbook over and over again. And next year we can see it again, and the year after that we can see it again. And for me, I'm tired of it, really. I mean, I'm tired doing the same thing for the last 20 years, and there is no resolution to the problem. The problem is they want more than the government can give. And so if the government can't give it to you, where they can get it from? She said it right. It is the taxpayers' money. But the taxpayers ain't got no money because the taxes ain't coming in. The expenses of the government is far outweighs revenue. And so you're demanding more money from a government that don't have it.
Well, I'll tell you, the taxpayers are not happy with this. Union leaders and Labor and the Department of Labor weren't the only ones reaching out to me over this weekend, right up to this afternoon. So too were the taxpayers, meaning the regular Jane and Joe and Joe Blow and the rest of them. They are quite angry about this. And in it's not you get a medal, you get a medal, you get a medal. There has to be a level where you aspire to more. I imagine the people who got $3,000 were the ones who didn't have a salary review in over 2 decades. Yes. I imagine those were the ones who run ministries, directors and deputy directors and on those various levels. There's no way that perhaps someone who is at the entry level or some sort of up the tier, because there's a tier, should receive the same as someone who is senior.
But I can go back to my original argument, right? These unions have been bringing in and taking in money for the last 40 years. She said it was 17,000 members. They have 17,000 members paying $25 a month. That's $5 million a year. How are you investing these money so that you can help these people? Because obviously the government, if we've been doing this for the last 25 years and we can do it for another 25 years, how we can fix this problem? You see, the problem is, how do we solve this problem? The union has money that they can't account for. They ain't telling you what they're doing with all that $250 million they had over the last 40 years.
What do you mean?
Where did the money go? Who did the money help? Where's the rest of the money? If you have overhead, granted, let us know your overhead. Then how did you spend almost $200 million in 40 years? How? Tell me. And so for me,
I'm sure you have done research over the weekend since you made that statement on Thursday's show. Have you come up with anything? Have people volunteered information to you?
Well, what I'm coming up with is that I think we need an audit, because what I'm understanding is a lot of the unions are not being able to meet their obligations in paying out. I'm getting a lot of noise in the market in that regard. But for me, the bottom line is that we need to have legislation to make sure that we could regulate the unions. The unions cannot be given a free-for-all to take in money and do whatever the hell they want with the money, because these are the people's money. Then you're going back to the government and say, give the people more money so they can give it back to the union who can waste the money. Where's the money going? And so the last time, Thomas Bastian was doing some stuff. They had Wakers House, they built this, that, the wash house was up, and all that crumbling down. So what are you doing with the people's money? A quarter, 200, some people get technical, so it wasn't a quarter. It was $200 million. That's $200 million in 40 years. Where did that go? And so for us now, we find ourselves at a stalemate. The government ain't got the money to make. The union's taking in money, and they can't tell you what they do on the money. They tell me I'm out of touch, I'm out of this. I just want to know, when you touch the money, where did the money go?
Well, I'll tell you this, you may be out of touch and perhaps not well versed in unionism. That is a term and a whole language on its own. But you're not the only one who's asking this kind of question. Cassius, what disturbs you most about this? You see, the teachers have said, listen, they have voted in favor of a strike. When that happens, we don't know. You saw in the last segment, we had the UTEB and the Auxiliary Professionals Union from BTVI here, and they admitted, and I said it facetiously, yes, but they admitted, listen, Bahamians ain't getting no smarter. This GPA still hovers where it hovers, and to the disgrace of us all, right? What I'm saying, when teachers are going to sit out for nothing that affects the bargaining unit, nothing that affects the fact that the government did not give them what it is that they negotiated for something that I figure, Cassius, here you go, enjoy this cup of tea, and you put it back in my face because the cup was half full. What do we say?
What you're basically saying is, we're not saying value for our money. And that's basically what you're saying. Because my first protest 25 years ago was against Ivy Dumont. You remember her name?
Ivy Dumont, yep, former Minister of Education.
I protest against Theon Folks. I protest against Alfred Sayers. I protest against all the ministers of education because we were hovering at a DEF. The country ain't producing intelligent people.
And we still there.
And so really we want to see productivity. Now, granted, teachers are very hardworking, right? And I understand where we are. But I think what we need to do is, because we're being back and forth with this for the last 25, 35 years, and we ain't getting nowhere, because we can find ourselves rowing about this. I think that, I think we may have a solution to this problem.
What is it?
Particularly with the unions. What I think we should do is, I have a plan here we call a national framework for shared prosperity in tourism. In other words, you got the hotel union bringing in $5 million a year, right? Any tourism and investment going forward allow the union have first right of refusal to invest in any tourism-related project up to 10%. So in other words, you give them the first right of refusal to buy 10% shares in any tourism-related project so that these dividends can go directly to the members. So you have the staff workers, the hotel workers, you have the taxi cab union. So the hotel workers and the taxi cab union, give them the right to invest in the Royal Caribbean project when it starts, right? They get 10% or more if they could afford it. Atlantis, if Atlantis is on the market for sale, if it's being sold, whoever buy it, allow the hotel workers union and the taxi cab union
negotiate properly the heads of agreement so that these people can
buy shares in it.
Yes.
So that 10% dividend goes directly back to the union, and the dividends are shared amongst all of the members, so that they don't have to go downtown looking for no $100, no little $50, because the government obviously tell you for the last 25 years, they tell you they ain't got it. So you have to be creative. And so now, whether it's a new project, whether it's Albany, whether it's whatever project moving forward, give them the first right of refusal to buy shares in any tourism-related property or project so that this dividends could go back to them because they service the industry. Mm-hmm. And so these same people who are cleaning the rooms, now they come to work earlier, they work harder
they have a
because
vested
they are shareholders in it.
Yeah.
The taxi cab drivers who are sitting out front of any project, they know that they are shareholders in it because at the end of the day, whether they earn a little $50 here, they know that the dividends are coming back because over the years, their dues are now working for them. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to submit this proposal to the Prime Minister and tell him to listen, take a look at this because I think moving forward we have to break this.
No, something has to be done differently because I'll tell you, the taxpayers, and they have been saying this really since this argument started, particularly those many in Grand Bahama, are very angry and saying, Shanique, when are you going to actually speak to the other side of this? And I'm like, what is the other side? What more they expect? This is what the people are actually saying. The average person out there on the street is saying what more they want.
Yeah, because, I mean, think about it, for me, it's adding value. It's adding value. How do you add value to someone's life? So the union It's not just for a union president to walk down Bay Street to jump some fence and make some noise and so on and carry on board. That's not what their purpose is. You know, of course you are collecting dues, but how do you now turn those dues into something practical over the next 50 years for the members and their family? Because at the end of the day, these people still got to live, they got to eat, they get insurance, and the cost of living in the Bahamas is not going down, it's going up.
Yeah, and let me tell you, the whole purpose of this show is, and I'm not singing because I hate ignorance. If you cannot deduce, pull up a dictionary, that I am here speaking every night on the behalf of us, that we are better empowered. You see, because things aren't going down, things aren't decreasing in price, the cost of living isn't going, and it will not. The U.S. complaining about it, and anywhere else in the world. So if you don't understand that I am here fighting and being a voice for the people to be empowered, and that is what unions ought to be busy about doing now, empowering the people. Their members are people who have children, mortgages, have school fees, and all the rest of it. But how will they be able to pay it? Certainly not by the increment that you hope for every year, that you get that. It's by the empowerment of an idea that Cassie has just presented. And any other idea out there where the union can come together and decide, listen, let's uplift our members as we all are uplifted.
And it's a partnership between the union and the government. If the government could create legislation to say, listen, any tourism-related project moving forward, the union has first right of refusal to buy shares into it, 10% or more. And so if we can tweak it however we want, but just look at it now, that every member of the tourism sector, whether they are a line staff, a casino worker, or a whatever, or a taxi driver, they have shares in everything moving forward.
I like that.
Through their union.
Yes.
Now, the question is, now there's a lot of regulation that goes into the legislation to make sure that the people get what they get, and making sure that the unions don't lose the money like they can't find out the $200 million that we're looking at now. But we have to begin to do something different, because we will find ourselves
We'll be here the next 50 years. The same things, the same script, different cast.
And I'm sick of it.
The next 50 years, you rowing and carrying on versus being empowered and at a different level of different quality of life and living. If you cannot determine that is what this discussion is about tonight, then you missed it entirely. You absolutely missed it. And I want to say this as well. I did not for this discussion and this show tonight, but I've reached out to Kimsley Ferguson before and have been ignored. And so if you want real results, and if you want to have your issue given the attention, the national attention it wants, then you would come and actually have an intelligent, mature discussion. But if you're going to continue to ignore and not play and figure that you're going to not speak to Shanique, but you're entitled to do that. But Shanique is going to continue to have a show. I have also before now reached out to Linda Davis, who too have not come and discussed. But this show goes on, and it sails and has the attention of everyone around the nation, the region, and abroad. And so therefore, if you want to come and sit down and sulk and point fingers and figure I'm singing Brave Davis's tune, and that's all you get from it, then guess what? You just the brightest bulb in the bunch, aren't you?
But this thing it doesn't do with Brave Davis. It has
not one thing.
It has to do with making sure that we could fix a problem that's been vexing for the last 25 years.
Man, since independence.
I tell you, I've been walking up and down the street singing We Shall Overcome. That's why I can tell you. Ain't nobody can tell me nothing. I've been there with Obie Ferguson. We've been walking up and down the street singing We Can Overcome. But now let's create a shared prosperity in tourism for the unions, the government, and everybody in stake, at stake, all the stakeholders.
Bahamians, let's raise the level, man. It's on us. Nobody else is on us. Let's raise the level. Let's become empowered. Let's become informed, and let's do so responsibly. Beyond the Headlines is back after this.
It's Christmas time at Grand Bahama Tiles with 5 days of savings you don't want to miss. Starting this Saturday, November 29th, get 25% off all tiles in stock. Then on Monday, December 1st, savings drop to 24% off, ending Thursday, December 4th with 21% off. The early bird really catches the worm this Christmas as savings drop each day. Hurry down for early Christmas savings at Grand Bahama Tiles. Call them at 352-7920.
Then to get sassy, so you ain't gonna bring in this shot.
Let's go drive.
Vincent, man, you know how much coconut I got in steel, man.
Let's go. Boy, you lock up.
Sergeant.
Big step. Who is Sassy Sue?
They tell me I can borrow Sassy Sue, the Sassy Sue.
Sarge, I ain't telling you you can touch my boat.
Everybody lock up. Best of the Best is back on Montague Foreshore from December 4th to December 7th, so I can see you there.
I am a master plumber by profession. I've been doing plumbing for over 40 odd years. When I was 9 months old, I was diagnosed with polio. To me, living with polio, I took it the way it is. I never allowed my polio to get in my way of anything. In fact, I love when people doubt me, and I just prove them wrong. And let me tell you, in the world, you could only find a plumber as good as me, but you ain't gonna find no plumber better than me. People with disability, they just need a chance. In this program, I feel so encouraged. Most of the mentors have different kind of disability, but disabilities like me. Sharing and caring and showing so much support with people with disability. They would encourage you to go beyond. I wish this was around a long time ago. Right now, I would have been a millionaire. You out there who have a disability, don't be afraid. Take the step. If you believe it, you could achieve it. And remember one thing, ain't no one better than me, and ain't no one better than y'all. God made all us equal.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
Running out of space? We've got room for that. Welcome to Skyline Storage, your trusted self-storage solution. Skyline Storage offers units from 5x10 to 10x30, climate controlled or standard dry. Perfect for home or business. Located in Westfield Commerce Park, Western New Providence. Your belongings stay safe with gated access and 24/7 surveillance starting at $175 a month. Reserve, pay, and move in online. No phone calls, no paperwork. Visit SkylineStorage.com. Skyline Storage. Storage made simple.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you tuned in this evening. Let's continue moving forward with the show. I want to first bring in the Hot Topics panelists and get their response to what we just discussed in the last segment, which is, of course, the issue with the teachers union in particular. I imagine there may be other unions attached. I'm not sure, but I know those leaders who reached out to me shared any number of views over the weekend and including today. But I want to first just hear from the gentleman before we move into this absolutely horrifying assault that happened in Greencastle, Eleuthera. Gentlemen, we'll get to that in a moment. Good evening to you, Leslie Miller. Good evening, Garth Roseborough.
Good evening.
Good night, Shanique Miller. Welcome to December, they say. And
December blessings, man. Yeah. Thank God. God is so awesome.
Thank God he took us this far.
This far throughout the year, absolutely, and I'm grateful. And I'm grateful for you, gentlemen, as well.
Well, we thank you. Pleasure to be here with you.
Absolutely.
Grateful to be
yes,
here.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, your thoughts, though, on what is a looming potential strike by the teachers' union?
Makes no sense.
Leslie yawning. Well, Shanique, to be frank with you, it's always easy to philosophize about how money matters should be handled, especially when it's not your own money. But as for me, if I was to personalize the issue, and if I were to promise you some money, not giving you the amount of money, and then you say to me, well, Jesus, you only gave me crumbs. Well, you know that's going to be the last time I give you anything, right? Because that's the way I treat my money. You know, people are always sensitive when it comes to gaining money, but how many of us are willing to give money? And just as Kasia said, how could you expect money that you don't even know how much money is there to be given? Yeah. And so I don't understand the logic behind all of this idea of a strike, but I can tell you this much. You may say that it's not political. I'll bet my bottom dollar it is. It has to be political because we always act the fool. I use the word fool with a capital F when it's time for election. You got to try to squeeze the government, try to get their attention, get everything that you want and more. You don't even really care about the taxpayers' money. You don't even really care about the taxpayer. You don't really care about us. If the man gave you $5 and that's all he had to give you of our money, take the $5 and thank God. But if you're going to be that ungrateful, I would tell you, stop offering these people our money without negotiation.
You know, it is really sad that every election cycle, we go through these madnesses, as all you can call them. The entire year, the government was negotiating with the unions. They say they're tying some 46 contracts, they say, brought all the unions to the table, acceded to their demands in trying to level the playing field, getting the governing ministries to be in tandem with the quasi-government entities, which will never happen, by the way. And suddenly the Prime Minister, Right Honorable Prime Minister, knowing the type of person he is and the background he's come from, realized that because of the appreciable cost of living in the Bahamas, especially in food, energy, as well as apartment rentals, that it was a really tough burden on the backs of the average ordinary Bahamian. So what did his government do? For 3 times in 5 years, they've had an increase that without any deliberation, without any negotiations with the union, said it's the right thing to do.
Yes.
And he did it. And despite him doing so,
it's still mad.
You would swear that this was a contractual agreement that he had committed to months ago, didn't live up to it, and now the union president is mad as hell. And then when the good gentleman who just came on just now indicated that some $200 million union workers' funds not has been unaccounted for, but has never been accounted for in a tangible way that I can see where my money going from week to week. I think it's time that these unions step to the plate and give people a clear picture of this country as to what cash we have in the bank, what assets we have accumulated over the last 40 years representing these people, what benefits they're going to get when they come to retirement, and what benefits they're getting now for sick leave, for emergency situations, and for the high cost of living. Are we interested in assisting them in getting a home? Can the government assist us, and we work with the government in tandem with getting, say, 100 acres from the government to put affordable housing? Because forget low-cost housing. There's such thing as low-cost housing anymore. So stop using that term. Affordable housing. Now, I would wish to see them, with the funds that they've collected over the years, sit with the government and say, listen, I need 100 acres Old Carmichael Road somewhere, and help me with the infrastructure. Let us put up our money, put our money to work on behalf of the people we've been representing for them 40 years.
Empower the people.
We have the cash. Let us do something meaningful to uplift the lives of those average, ordinary women that makes up this union camaraderie. That's what I'd like to see.
If I just chime in there really quickly, and I like what Leslie Miller is saying, but once I want to just strengthen and then reiterate, everyone is interested in everyone else's money. Everyone else is assuming that you have this money. Cassius George says, you know what, based on my calculations, you unions should have this amount of money. The unions are saying, as the government, you should have this amount of money.
Yes.
With the cost of living, who knows how much money anybody else has? If you're getting some free money, how can you now complain? You don't want to tell us how much money you got. You don't want to tell us how much money you've been spending. You don't want to tell us if you've been robbing your union members. You don't want to tell us that you've been rewarding them healthily and wealthily. But you want to say, oh, government, I know you got plenty of money in our treasury. I know you can do better than what you did before. We were expecting more. Well, the government is saying we don't have it. So let's start with freedom of information then. If you want the government to disclose that they should give you more, you come and disclose yours.
It's almost tantamount to having a nice, wonderful wife or a better half.
Wife?
And every Monday would ask X, Y, Z. And you say, okay, no problem at all. I'm helping you to advance yourself and advance our relationship and advance our future. And then one day you find that there's nothing there with all the funds you were giving them over the years. And they can't give an account for it.
Right.
And then you say, listen, man, this don't make no sense. So you walk away from it. And what happened? The party probably put that money somewhere for their own benefit and left you out of the equation. This is tantamount to them. What happened to the people's money? You're responsible for it. You got to give an account of it. I just think it's time now that takes place. Instead of you crying all the time, first of all, the government didn't give you the money. The government gave the money to the union people. And we don't know how many people was involved in this strike petition that you gave out. Could be 20, could be 50, could be 5,000. But you refuse to give out the figure. Say, well, that's my ace. But if you're ace or not, why would someone not be grateful for a government that decided, I want to assist you, Christmas is coming. I know things are tough. Here's what I want you to do, and then next year, we'll revisit it again and try to see what we can do, depending on the circumstances. What is so wrong about that? Why do you have to fight all the time and be so ungrateful?
Many of their negotiations are just about here, you know. They have negotiations, I think, early next year.
Yes.
And so therefore, many of them, I told you this weekend, you would think I was working. But for the amount of, whether it's the Department of Labor or whether it's union presidents themselves who spoke with me and told me any number of things. And so therefore, you know, they have a lot to say. They have a lot on their mind. They're thinking about a lot in the middle of all of this. And so the thing is, again, you know, I'll tell you this, at the bottom of it all, you regular Jane out there, regular Joe, it's for you to become empowered. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
It's for you to become, and because
for.
I gave the example, and I ain't talking about the union I used to be in. But
Show me something.
But I used to work in an environment where I was unionized for 14 years.
Yes.
Well, when I was fired, no, I left. When I left, I don't know, but the first time I left, they didn't say you was paying dues for 14 years, so Shanique,
okay.
I'm here.
You serious?
So, no,
take this check.
that don't happen.
Boy.
You didn't get any money?
out.
No.
The union did not give me 1 cent. Now,
No.
y'all owe me something.
For 14 years?
Sherry Benjamin, you was in president then, but if you think they owe me something, come. Because I'm saying, after 14 years, when I left and I went into the private sector,
and put money into it
every month. Twice a month.
No, boy.
Twice a month.
No, boy.
And I was, and so Sherry, let's talk, like we have something to talk about. But I'm trying to say, the union ain't following you, whether you are fired, whether you leave and go on to embrace another opportunity, whatever you need to do. So my thing again is, just as we're asking, where is this money? But you all, here's what's troubling. That is, but here's something. A terrorizing assault on 3 brothers. The youngest just 6 years old, leaving their mother distraught tonight and asking for assistance. It all unfolded on the island of Eleuthera in the settlement of Greencastle. Here is this story by Linton Ritchie, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Let me know to move on or just talk about it if we have. We might be having a little technical issues, and so here's what took place. Apparently, a group of boys, it may have been a little ongoing feud, and I think these are school-age young men. And the mother went out somewhere to run an errand, left her sons and the 6-year-old home, and these boys broke into the house, kicked the screen door down, I am told, and I really didn't want to guess this. I wanted the story to actually tell it, but kicked the screen door down. There it is. Let's see.
I got the call from my 16-year-old screaming, saying, "Mommy, they chopped me in my head. They chop him in his head with a cutlass. They beat him with pieces of wood. He could have been dead."
Grateful her son is still alive, but outraged. That's how 33-year-old mother of 5, Santisha Brown, describes the harrowing near-death attack on her 3 sons, ages 18, 16, and just 6 years old. Brown telling Eyewitness News exclusively that her eldest son had a prior dispute with another teen. After speaking with the other teen's parents, she thought the matter was resolved, but days later, after she left home, that teen allegedly returned with 2 others, intent on violence. Instead, her 16-year-old opened the door and was met with a brutal sudden assault.
Drenched in blood, screaming, waking up the 18-year-old. He had to start fighting and defending. My 6-year-old, they gone to go hit him in his head with a rock. He had to shove the 6-year-old under the bed. They took that same rock and hit my 16-year-old in the same place where they already chopped him.
Officer in charge of Eleuthera, Superintendent Franklin Neely, confirming the incident, noting all 3 suspects are minors.
3 young men with a range age between 15 and 17 were arrested. They were later
transported to New Providence, where they are expected to be arraigned.
The attackers left a trail of destruction throughout the apartment, shattered windows, holes in the walls, damaged doors. Brown says her attempts to seek financial assistance from the suspect's parents went nowhere, but community members stepped in, helping her son to get to Nassau for urgent medical care.
He had a lot of swelling going on. Thank God there was no internal bleeding. They checked him to make sure none of the nerves and stuff was clipped.
Now with her 16-year-old son bruised and fighting to recover, and her 6-year-old traumatized by the violent ordeal, Brown says she wants one thing.
But justice need to be served. Sit down and talk to these children. And when these children do wrong, you correct them in their wrong. Don't you cloak them, because my child could have been dead.
You know, in some areas, let's just zero in on Eleuthera, eh? In some areas in Eleuthera, Crane Castle, for example, is synonymous with just foolery, as you saw a moment ago. And it is disgusting to see that kid, and I'm not saying he's innocent, because he may have done something as well in the past, but the woman says she tried to talk with the parents to try get it all squashed. And the minute she stepped out to run an errand, these boys broke into the home allegedly, and this is what they did. Gentlemen, your thoughts on what we saw just now that looks so frightening and unbelievable?
To me, I'm just petrified.
See, there's the door. There's the screen door kicked down right there. Yeah, go ahead, Garth.
Bring the whole door down.
This is beyond criminal. This has actually entered
The savagery.
into the realm of pure evil.
Yeah.
Whatever form of retaliation you would like to deem this, we all know it's unnecessary. It just goes to show us that so many families have now become dysfunctional at best. There are a whole lot of us as parents that may need some type of counseling. Mediation is going to be necessary in situations like this. Psychological evaluations. I mean, our country is just lacking in terms of the psychiatric treatment needed for a number of people in this country.
Yes.
But these children, what you just witnessed, Shanique Miller, is an instant creation of a mini gang. That's what it was. They turned into a gang like in a moment to break down into somebody's house, criminal, to bring a cutlass, weaponry, evil, terrorists.
Cutlass, man.
And we got to define this one, Shanique Miller.
Yes.
This is so horrifying to me.
They've got to be charged as adults. Now, I understand
Yes.
they were given bail today. I don't know what, listen.
Given bail?
Bail. Listen, that's attempted murder. The judicial system has got to now get
Very
with the
serious.
times
Very
of where
serious.
these people are, Leslie.
Listen, this is savagery, what we witnessed
Jesus, man.
A few minutes ago. How is it that the parents of these young fellas who break into the people's house kick the door down? How did their parents bring them up? That you go with a cutlass to kill a young boy, 6 years old, to be pushed under the bed by his brothers to try to save his life.
A 6-year-old.
And now he gets bail? We can't be serious as a country. I mean, how do you have a well-ordered society when all of us don't ascribe to the same norms? How does society function properly? When you can see the savagery that took place in that situation. Now, what is going to happen in the end? The guy's going to go to school next week saying, "You see what I did? I'll do it to one of y'all." Because these guys inflate their ego by saying how bold they are, how dangerous they are,
Criminals.
and how criminality they are in their minds.
Yes.
That I could go and take a life and I'll walk free. And that's again because we don't have the necessary laws in place. They are in place, but we wouldn't execute. And young people see this, they say, "Well, listen, I can do anything because they ain't gonna take my life if I kill them. I can go free." And they don't understand, the government and the parliament don't understand how important this is. I was talking to someone this morning. A lady called me, her mommy died suddenly, good friend of mine. And she paid $3,500 for a gravesite and wanted to put a tombstone on her mommy's grave. And you can get the tombstone. I bought it for my parents, my son, and other family members. Get them out of Miami for about $650, beautiful ones. $1,000 give you the best. And he had started $3,500. You already paid your $3,500 for it. How the hell it get to be their business as to what you put on your family's grave? and the members of parliament and the government sits back on their backsides and nobody would move against it.
A nation
and
of
you
pirates.
realize why the people are so upset about y'all?
A nation
Come
of,
on, man.
A nation of pirates, you understand?
Come on, man.
A nation of pirates, and we've got to clean it up. And that is why when I try stand for the empowerment of Bahamians, so that you stop being so desperate and raising a bunch of spawn. That's what they are, spawns. And so when you raise
hogs.
them, that's what it's
That's
exactly.
the average ordinary Bahamian.
That's it.
Saying, I just had, one of my loved ones just died. I paid $6,500 for a grave, a small grave site. And you can tell me I cannot go to Miami and cannot purchase it here. There's a guy right through Stapleton Gardens that makes beautiful ones. And they won't allow him to sell. It's criminal. And the government sits on their backside. And members of parliament sit on their asses in parliament and do nothing about it. And I'm mad as hell for it because it's unfair to the average man. See, the big guy can afford anything. I got no concern for the big guy. I got concern for the little fella. The one who hustled every day trying to give his children a better life. And in his darkest hour, you can tell the man, you cannot bring it in my graveyard. That is not your graveyard after I paid for that grave. That is my property. And we got to enact something in Parliament to save the poor from these vultures. That's what they are.
And
vultures.
this is why I'm saying to you all.
Okay? Get up, man.
The person who comes knocking on your door, if he or she cannot empower you and help
I'm not
make
looking for
life
your best interest. You know what to do. Send them home.
Send them packing. You don't need somebody who's scratching their head
Gotta stop,
and
man.
trying to wonder where the money come from just like you. You need someone who comes with a vision.
Okay?
A vision and a workable vision.
Get
who is
real.
working on your behalf to get you further in life. Okay? Now Greencastle, you all are synonymous with foolishness and foolery.
Sort it out. The police got a mandate.
There's a whole BTVI campus right there in Greencastle.
Sort it out.
And stop being dumb, distracted, and just enthused about foolishness.
Something meaningful
and
with your life, man.
Get into BTVI. Go and register and learn a craft, upskill. Get something else going where you're busy and you're occupied. We will follow this up and we will see what's going on.
Almost kill people on your own bail the same time. The same day. We ain't serious in this country, man. We just will go to hell. That's all I can say. I'm all this. Just, pack our bags and go straight to hell.
Listen, Garth, quickly, 2 seconds.
I'm just saying national security, we need a plan to help our children. This reminds me of the savagery of Rwanda. It's like the beginning of Rwanda all over again in our
over 2
small
million
country.
people?
And the use of cutlass and such mechanisms in the mind of a child, to me that's so horrifying.
I'll tell you, I'll tell you this,
6-year-old.
parents. Yes, parents, let me tell you something. Stop trying to be your children's friends.
Okay.
Stop twerking.
Exactly.
Stop twerking and trying to go after your daughter's boyfriend
Exactly.
and girlfriend and sleeping and
Exactly.
having sex and all up and down in front of your children, and start being parents.
Exactly. Listen.
And then if you're too young to be a parent, stop laying on your back for every man who come knocking on your door.
Listen.
I won't say more, but I'll just be respectful this Monday
You know
night.
what my late father
Stop.
told me? Before he passed, he said, son, if you live to be 1,000 years old, you can never be equal to me. I'm daddy.
That's right.
I name daddy.
Be fathers,
You
be
name
mothers,
son.
okay? Simple
Can
as
never
that.
be equal.
And let some respect happen
Never
in
be
your household.
equal.
Start being parents again. It's
right.
as simple as that. Beyond the headlines, I thank you all so much for tuning in this evening. Of course, to all of tonight's guests, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for tuning in this evening. I certainly enjoyed having you along. For the entire team, my wonderful team back there, thank you. We are so happy for all of you tuning in. Make it a great evening.